Okay, day 172 of One Brotherhood, and I'll summarize all the videos I did yesterday. If you don't want to follow the daily videos, you can just watch the part ones. That'll be the summary and then the kind of the plan for the next day. But some people like to watch the individual reporting just to fact check all along the way or add their value added all along the way. So that's why I do the individual reporting activities as well during the day. So I talked to Ray McGovern yesterday, 50-year veteran of the intelligence community. We're going to try to link up, compare notes and so forth, and just look at how intelligence communities or how embedded covert groups work in another country. As you know, the CIA has done this for years and years in over 100 countries. So this is nothing new to the CIA. As you know, if you've watched the series, a key reason why you would use foreign nationals in your country, in your own country, is that you don't have to report that to Congress by using what's called a liaison loophole. Liaison, a funny word with two I's and an A in the middle, Liaison. The liaison loophole allows you to bring folks into the country to run a narco-terror hacking type operation and not have to report it to Congress. I don't have to present what's called a finding. I don't need to go to the Gang of Eight, 4 from the Senate, 4 from the House, the Intelligence Committee. I don't have to go to the House Intelligence Committee or the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence. I can just bring these folks in and really run operations to my heart's content. And I think I've shown in the past where we've run intelligence operations, hacking operations, and so forth. We've also run kind of these red team type operations, which are teams that murder people. And then there's also the narco the part of it, the narco terrorism part of it, which is kind of the Iran-Contra thing. You run a system of convenience stores, you sell drugs through them, you run a system of hospitals, you sell synthetic drugs through them, and that funds all your other activities so that you don't have to report to Congress. You never have to go to Congress to ask for any money. This narco-terror triangle has been repeated over and over again so many times, and I'm going directly from CIA directors' memoirs. I'm the people who ran the programs themselves. So sometimes people think, oh, this is a lot of speculation, this is conspiracy theory and so forth, and I'm just going to be straightforward and say it's based on fact from the actual testimony of the directors of the Central Intelligence Agency themselves, or done directly from documents, FOIA documents and so forth, and then compiled into books like The Devil's Chessboard. David Talbot is a great resource there. Peter Dale Scott does a great job. So one of the things when I was in Virginia, now I'm in Maryland, researching the other half of the nanoset, but I went around all these homes, and we identified all these different homes that the Awans used, a lot of them around government facilities. These are what's known as a proprietary. You bring people in from other countries that are DynCorp police trained folks from Pakistan in this case, ISI Intelligence Service. Hillary herself in her book Hard Choices says that the ISI has connections to Al Qaeda and to the Taliban. So again, I'm not saying anything new here. This is Hillary's own words. In this case, the three Awan brothers held their stepmother hostage at this house. I think currently at the house could be Jamal, Imran's younger brother. At every house I went to, and I went to about 6, they all said, yeah, I've only seen Imran. I've never seen any of the other folks. So I don't know. But I did notice that the car photos of this location and the other locations near this home in Springfield did have the same cars, so it does seem to be some continuity between the folks and family there. My key point here, though, is that Hillary acknowledges ISI involvement in the drug business. She acknowledges ISI involvement with Al Qaeda. So, it's not me saying this. Again, I don't know how many Imran Awans live in Lorton, Virginia, but this one had links to DynCorp trained police forces in Pakistan. His father's name's Muhammad Shah. he does have on his Facebook links to Syed Pir Muhammad Shah. There he is there, links to radical jihad, and then links also to Karachi. My working theory is that up until 2010, India was the main importer of heroin from Pakistan. It was being brokered, it was being sold, and the Pakistanis were more brokers selling to India. And this is going to be through the guy named Ibrahim. What Pakistan wanted was not just to be a broker to India, but they wanted to sell drugs directly into the United States. When you broker, you only get a small fee, 10% fee. If you import directly to the United States, you're going to get more like a 50 or 60% profit margin on your exports. That's why I believe Imran, his earlier profile he had down here in Karachi with the gun and so forth. This is really more kind of an on the waterfront lifestyle, where you're just being paid brokerage type fees for moving something from one place to another. I believe Mumbai is going to be the other place where it's going to be Karachi to Mumbai shipping. But then the new era, the new 2010 era, the whole Mango mission, the whole Mango diplomacy, that Hillary conducted. And again, Hillary is calling this Mango diplomacy. The foreign minister of Pakistan is calling it Mango diplomacy. They're both admitting they're spending hundreds of diplomats in 2010, 2011 to make this Mango mission happen. Just doesn't seem reasonable that you would do that to sell a $6 mango in Chicago where the mangoes are selling for $1. It just doesn't make sense. It does make sense, though, if that same box, $18 box of mangoes, sells for $28,800. So I'm just trying to explain that the logic here, as well as the history and the modus operandi. As I mentioned, I went to this Hawkshead Drive home here, which is more in an upscale area of Lorton. 5-bedroom house. This is a little bit further south of D.C. Here on these steps is where I met the U.S. Marine who said yes. I met Imran Awan. He said his name was Alex. He ran the service through his wife to rent me this home, and I found, this Marine here said, I found government issued Blackberries and government issued laptops in this location. Now I don't know if this is going to come out, and I've given this lead to other mainstream media reporters, but that is firsthand. My firsthand looked this Marine straight in the eye and said, I found Blackberries and I found laptops at this location. I think it was 4 to 5 laptops and several Blackberries. Now I don't know if those are Hillary's Blackberries. I never said they were Hillary's Blackberries. I don't know if that was Valerie Jarrett and Anthony Weiner and the other Cheryl Mills's laptop or not. I have no idea. But they were somebody's Blackberries, probably members of Congress. They were somebody's laptops, I'm guessing, again, probably members of Congress. Since Imran had access to Debbie Wasserman Schultz's iPad, then why wouldn't he have access to other members of Congress's laptop? And it could be, hey, I'm going to take your laptop home, I'm going to load a new version of the OS on it, and then that gives you an opportunity to look at all the email. So, again, yesterday I made kind of an arcane video at the end of the day talking about this case of Aaron Swartz. It was this Jewish kid who basically went into this server room at MIT and gave a whole bunch of public domain documents that had been pulled back into the private domain, and he put them out on the web. And he was also a strong advocate for internet rights, internet privacy, so he was against PIPA and he was against SOPA. Well, in this case, the FBI published pictures of him going into the room, putting, the cover over his face, splashed his picture all over everywhere, saying how big of a thief he was, even though he was releasing public information, and they wanted to charge him 35 years. After they harassed him and he committed suicide over a harassment program, then after he's dead, they said, we were going to reduce the sentence to 2 years. This is a common pattern with the FBI, and this is another McCabe deal. I know for a fact McCabe was involved in this prosecution. This is fake crime. Again, McCabe is not, with the FBI, is not involved in publicizing Imran's picture. This is an old picture with Bill Clinton, I believe about 12 years old when Imran first came to the United States. We haven't seen any pictures of Imran since, or any of the other Awan brothers involved in this investigation. We haven't seen anything from the Capitol Police about this server, this external server they had. Now, if you're going to publish Aaron Schwartz's picture going into the server room at MIT, why not publish Imran's picture going into the server room in the congressional offices, taking these laptops and taking these thumb drives and the server logs and phone records which geolocates them? Why not publish those? Again, I'm just trying to be fair here. One of the places I went yesterday was to the car dealers, and you saw yesterday it was 11 o'clock on Wednesday. I was trying to buy a car. I was filming 2 cars like I was interested in 2 cars. Went up to the door to try to pull the door, and it was closed. This was the car center that I mentioned was $1 million in debt. It was sued, and one of the it still looks like a front. If somebody's looking at a $60,000 car and is filming it and then tries to come in to buy it, and then the door's locked, and I can see the person behind the door not opening the door. So I'm wondering, is it still a front? I went down here to the Annandale house here as well, where Abid's wife, Natalia Sova, who was also making 4 times the normal rate that a normal congressional staffer makes, and her easy car buying business and so forth. And there's a different renter in there now. And again, he says, oh yeah, I saw Imran about 2 weeks ago, but I've never seen any of the other Awan brothers. So why do I mention Seth Rich yesterday, and why did I mention this Mahood? Well, I mentioned that he was with Awan Brothers LLC. He was the registered agent, this guy named Mahood, and he had hired 2 of these kids from Guatemala to go down to Richmond and kill this car dealer. Well, again, when I see car dealerships where you pull the door and they're not open at 11 o'clock on Wednesday when you're trying to buy a $60,000 car, and then I see Islamic or very involved Islamic car dealers being suffocated, strangled, murdered, and this registered agent of the Awan brothers organizing and orchestrating the deal, this Manassas Mahood, and he has a transportation company called Gold Transport. Now, what I believe he was doing was going around to different car companies, putting the car on the sled, and then taking those cars to that car company, that CIA car company on the previous page here, over in Falls Church. This is right in the shadow of DynCorp. And the ones are giving these cars that are on consignment. This comes right from the lawsuit. They're giving these cars to different people that are coming in and working at these different government agencies, different Pakistanis that are coming in and working at these government agencies. It's known as a proprietary. You don't want new people coming in, swiping their credit card a lot and leaving an audit trail of every hotel they stay in and every car that they rent. It's just very easy for an investigator to follow. You want them to have drive and say, oh, I was driving a dealer loaner. And if they're caught, they just give a false license to the officer, and then away they go. That also, what I just said, comes directly from the court record, where people were arrested without a license. So if you don't remember who the Awans are, they're all making over $160,000 a year. There's a 4th brother, Omar, and I still don't know about Omar. He seems like a pretty good guy, but he's also making $148,000 a year. I do have his picture now. He also is involved in this company in Chicago, which is, I've talked about the Pakistani mangoes before. It's in Bolingbrook, Illinois. So I'm going to be researching that. Why ever you're working in Congress, but you have a business in Illinois, not far from the airport, not far from the Chicago O'Hare Airport. Again, things that I'm just trying to run down. Again, Nanoset Technologies is, while these Awans are making 3 times the median for what they pay Congress, they're running this company called Nanoset Technology, which is a government contractor. So the Awans are involved in it, as well as this Soraya Begum, who is in Maryland. That's where I am today, and that's what I'm going to be following up today. Again, I wouldn't put any special attention on the Awans if they didn't have all these different businesses. Here is the Springfield Valley House, which I also visited. Again, it's listed to one of their properties, Awan Brothers Inc. Okay, here's a logistics company in Lahore. Here's a overseas employment company. So this is Soraya Begum. There are two. This is the mother. The mother is the Minister of Cultural Affairs for Pakistan, which, as you know, was, Bangladesh, which was a part of Pakistan. It was East Pakistan. It's kind of under the thumb still of Pakistan, unfortunately. And this, I believe, is her daughter, Dr. Soraya Begum, who's a doctor at the VA. Also involved with this company, which is more of a Homeland Security company. Again, that's an oddity to me, called AAIT. So that's in Baltimore. I'm going to be going there today. AAIT, drilling down on that. As I said before, they started a company called New Dawn Corporation in 2001, Soraya Begum and the Awans. I believe that the New Dawn was in July 29th, 2011, when they went from just being a broker selling Afghan opium and then processing it into morphine or some derivative, and then selling it through India for importation into the United States, where they actually, at this point, started flying the opium or the heroin and processed morphine directly into Chicago O'Hare Airport. And you can see all through the Wikipedia emails about, there's this talk about mangoes. This is not my email about mangoes. This is Huma Abedin's and Hillary Clinton's constant obsession with mangoes coming into the United States. So I won't belabor this anymore, but I'm just saying these 20 burglaries and so forth, you normally would have pictures. We see on the news every night, we see very petty burglaries where people are, driving cars through convenience stores and breaking down all the windows and so forth to get a few, cases of cigarettes. Okay, why not publish the videos of the 20 burglaries? Again, we have independent reporting saying that there was items that were stolen. Okay. And this also, and I won't talk about this also goes back to the Seth Rich case, which I'll go back to Mahmoud here. The reason why I say Mahmoud might be involved in the Seth Rich case is because he was involved with the Awan brothers. He is in Washington, D.C. He had access, and he is a murderer. These murderers in the past have gone through that mosque, that Nij Ra Mosque, which means Great Migration. I don't know what that Great Migration is. I think it's a Great Migration into the Washington, D.C. area and around that mosque and Falls Church, if nothing else. And usually when you have a hitman like a Luca Brasi or something like that from a Godfather, you don't go get a different hitman for every hit. You're creating a lot of loose ends and a lot of people who could get you in trouble and testify against you. You usually use a hitman over and over and over and over and over for all the different hits that you're going to need. That's the only reason why I mention Mahmoud as a potential killer for Seth Rich. Now, Seth Rich is shot at that corner that I went to yesterday, and I just try to put people in the shoes of Seth Rich that night. He shot at that corner at 4:20 a.m. There is a convenience store video across the street that has the two killers attacking him at that corner. He's crawling on his hands and knees. Okay, the police get there within 1 minute, and then he gets taken to the hospital very quickly. And there's a whole complex of hospitals only a couple minutes away. So kudos to the police, kudos to emergency services. But he's sitting up and talking. He's sitting up and talking for more than an hour. He's coherent. He's a little bit incoherent in the sense he can't remember his last address. He remembers the address previous to that. He's only lived at that address for a short period of time. But wouldn't you ask someone, if you were the police officer, do you remember who hit you? Do you remember what they looked like? Do you remember if there was cars squealing? Do you remember what their car looked like? What happened to 2 hours since the bar closed at 2? What did you do between 2 and 4:20 a.m.? Who did you talk to? Where did you go? What phone calls did you make? Why wouldn't the police publish that information? Why wouldn't they publish the convenience store video? Why wouldn't they publish all the phone calls, his phone logs. And normally in these 911 cases where somebody goes missing, they're in a big public shooting situation. They're more than anxious to have as many press conferences as they can. They're publishing information on the hour. They're holding hourly press conferences. Where are the police interviews of Seth Rich between 4:20 a.m. and 6 a.m. when he died? Why not publish those? Why not publish the convenience store videos? I went to the convenience store yesterday, and I'll just say this again. A very immigrant family that seems to be under a great deal of pressure. While I was there, I believe there was a person that came in that gave, I'll just say for lack of a better word, the stink eye to the gal, and I believe she was being intimidated right in front of my eyes to not say anything more about the murder. So again, these things, when they don't make sense, I keep going, I keep probing. Why the police won't publish the interviews that they had with him while he was in the hospital, Seth Rich, is again a question that doesn't make any sense. Okay, that's it for right now, and on to Baltimore and Johns Hopkins today.